Hi, if you are one of the people who is struggling to forgive and forget, and maybe you have even forgiven someone, but you are struggling to forget the wrong things that have been done to you and which might have affected you negatively in profound way, this video is for you because a lot has been said about forgiveness. The internet is rife with videos about forgiveness, how it's a great virtue to be practiced, and how forgiving others gives us the peace and joy we want in our lives and allows us to move forward. Well, but if it's a struggle for you, I would like you to question. I would like you to question. I would like you to trust yourself more and question, is forgiveness the right thing for you? Isn't there something else? Because we know that one size fits all is not true, right? There's no one solution for everything. And sometimes we get so focused on forgiving and feeling of forgiveness that we forget that it is just a means to the end. Forgiveness is a means. The end is always joy and peace in our lives, right? So today I'll be so my point is forgiveness has its place, but unforgiveness is not the monster it is painted to be. And forgiveness is maybe not the angel it is painted out to be. So let's discuss that. Let's talk about that, and maybe you'll find some clarity in your life. So I'll talk about some points. We are going to compare forgiveness as well as unforgiveness, and I will try to kind of play the devil's advocate, so-called devil's advocate, because I really don't feel like unforgiving someone is a devilish act, but that is how the society and culture have painted it. Like, oh, if you don't forgive someone, it's like you will not be able to find peace. And I challenge that. I challenge that. And the reason is because I have seen so many people who are struggling to forgive their abusers. It kind of makes me sad, because why does it take the onus of forgiving? Why does it transfer all the struggle to the victim? While the perpetrator of the crime may be roaming scot free, maybe claiming new victims, here is the victim who's just thinking about, who's taking the guilt of not being able to forgive their bullies. So that just got me thinking, like why is forgiveness such a big deal? It is a big deal if you can, but if you cannot, I would implore you not to let the society bully you into forgiving someone. Now let's get back to the point. This is a very raw video, guys. This is a very raw and honest video, and I'm doing it without script. Of course, I have thought about it. I've given it a lot of thought. I've researched into it. I have read and even seen in my real life about people's experiences. But the video is very raw. There is no script. I'm reading this from. So here goes. So, the first thing in favor of unforgiveness is that forgiveness has a place in society, but so has unforgiveness. Why? Because you can forgive someone who cuts you off in a traffic light, let's say. Why? Because you don't know their situation, right? You don't know. Maybe they are just maybe they are running late to the office, maybe they had a rough morning, and I would say be generously forgiving in such cases, because we never have a 360-degree view of the situation. Okay, and we can give them the benefit of doubt, and that is so that we maintain peace. We don't feel resentful about it, and we are able to move forward. Heck, you can even forgive your childhood bully, your school bully, because maybe they had a difficult time at home. Now it's just a maybe they didn't have, maybe it was just in the DNA, being a bully. That's okay, but just for your own peace, and because you have to move forward in life and in traffic, you can give them the benefit of doubt, because maybe it's in the DNA, and maybe really the circumstances were such that they couldn't, that this thing manifested out of their DNA, right? So then in such cases, forgiveness is not only the wise thing to do, it is essential, it is critical, because you need to move forward. And maybe you're not going to meet them again, so what's the point in holding on to the grudges? You're not doing any good to yourself or the society at large. And when I talk of society, let me clarify it at this point that while I'm talking of forgiveness, I'm talking it at a very individual level. Okay, moving forward. So now we see that forgiveness has its place in society, but then I will fight for unforgiveness to have a place in society as well. Now, you gave forgiveness to people because you gave them the benefit of doubt, right? But what about cases where you have no doubt? You have no doubt that the person has wronged you. And not just you, that is in their nature, that is what they do to other people as well. So, what happens is unforgiveness is not born out of just a single act. It is like you see a pattern, you see them repeatedly doing that, and maybe they have not gone out from your life yet. You have to interact with them on a daily basis or weekly or monthly, anything. They are still with you. Why would you forgive them? Because what happens is the advantage you have in unforgiving them is it's like, there's a certain exchange of energy when you forgive vis-a-vis when you unforgive. So what happens is when you unforgive, your whole aura becomes the kind that you are not going to take this bullying lying down. So it kind of gives them a signal that you are no longer interested, and they, in fact, that gives them a signal that they no longer have the safety net of forgiving, of getting forgiven for whatever they do. So that will make them a little wary around you, a little careful around you, because and when you forgive, now people will say that, hey, even when you forgive, it doesn't mean you become careless, and you still are careful and all that. But this is all well and good in theory, but practically you see that when there are many people who, even though they forgive, they struggle to forget. They can't forget these things. And what happens is when you forgive, the kind of energy that takes place between you two is somewhere deep inside you are, you kind of disarm, and then when they strike again, you feel bad because you feel like, oh, I had forgiven this person, and this person is like strike like hitting me again and again. But when you unforgive, you kind of build a shield around yourself. You feel more safe and protected. You feel that this is the person who I have not forgiven yet. Everything is yet, nothing is cast in stone. So I've not forgiven them yet. So they don't have power over me. So I'll be wary around this person, and I'll be taking, and maybe they kind of change their behavior a little bit around you, and maybe a little bit around the future unsuspecting victims, because they see that this is no longer an option, that everyone is going to forgive them. So they might even change their behavior, who knows? And that way, you're not only doing good for yourself, you're even doing good for the future victims. Because if you keep forgiving those bullies, if they don't have a moral compass, a proper moral compass, they might just think that they have gotten away with it, and that will lead to more innocent victims. Why would you want that? I don't say that, to seek active revenge and do that, but just unforgive. Just have an aura that, listen, I've not forgiven you yet, and I haven't forgotten what you did. So, just be careful around me. Don't think I'll take that, because I'm not making excuses for you. I know, you have to trust your soul. Whatever book says, whatever society says, your soul, your heart is an institution in itself. Religion is made, the rules of the society are made so that people can lead a joyous life. But if you are not feeling joy, you're not feeling the peace within you, why do you have to lay on this guilt of not being able to forgive? Anyway, that was a long one. So coming to my second point, I feel like, uh, in fact, it's an extension of the first point. I see that many times the perpetrators of, or the bullies, let's say them bullies and victims, okay, just to keep some clarity and reduce the words. So many times I see that the bullies are okay with it, with doing their thing, but the victims are the one who are reeling under the pressure of forgiving people, forgiving them. Why? Why not we declare that we don't want to take this pressure? Just accept that maybe at this point in time, I don't have it in me to forgive those people, to forgive that bully. What this happens is, it does exactly what forgiveness does. Like the way forgiveness gives you peace in many situations, when you decide this and unforgive someone, you just take that person and mentally, of course, mentally, and put them in the unforgiven bin. Forgiven, unforgiven. And that's it. You close that bin, you shut it, and you forget it. Okay? And what that does is, once you put them in the unforgiven bin, you do not go and seek revenge, or I'm not saying justice, I'm talking about revenge. You do not go and seek revenge, or think, have some ill will towards them, because that is going to speak about your character if you want to have revenge. So just think they are unforgiven, and the thing is, the goal of forgiving and unforgiving is the same. What people say you can achieve through forgiving, I say you can also achieve through unforgiving someone. You just unforgive someone, put them in the unforgiven bin, shut it and forget it. That's it. It's easy peasy. It's simple like that. Another place where I think unforgiving is not that bad is, unforgiving will make you more accountable. You know why? Because the thing is, what you do to others can happen to you as well. Okay, so if, let's say, I unforgive someone, I decide that I'm not going to forgive this person, I have to accept and take the risk that some people might not even forgive me if I do something similar. Of course, the prerequisite is that I have a moral compass, but then I have a moral compass, but still, sometimes when we are in a bad mood, we can say something really harsh, and that might stay with a person for years. But now that we know that we are not always getting this pass of being forgiven, we are going to be more mindful of what we say. We are going to know that, like I didn't forgive someone might not forgive me, and this will stop me from saying, let's say, mean things, or making me more mindful about the way I'm interacting with people. That will make me more accountable, more mindful, more conscious driven. I listen to my higher self more than listening to my lower self, which is the monkey mind, which sometimes provokes us to say and do things which we really do not intend to. So that, in that case, unforgiveness, having the quality of unforgiveness, is kind of making me accountable as well. So those are the things I wanted to say, that unforgiveness is not that villain that it's made out to be. And if you're struggling with forgiveness, I say just put people in the unforgiven bin and move on. Remember, the goal is the same: forgiving, unforgiving. Your center has to be joy and peace. You do not have to center all your energies and emotions and everything around forgiving. Unforgiving is equally good. Okay. So I hope this helps and takes off some burden from some of you. And you're able, one more thing is, nothing is set in stone. You can say to yourself, because what we are trying to do is, we are trying to take off this pressure, right? So you can say to yourself that I don't have it in me right now to forgive. Right now I just unforgive. Maybe if they prove to me through their actions that they are worthy of forgiveness, I will forgive them someday, but not right now. And that is all I have to say. And ultimately, my goal is that you all lead a joyous life, and take away that guilt from you, take away that burden of forgiving someone. Stay light, stay positive, stay happy, stay joyful. That is the aim of life. The aim of life is not to forgive, unforgive. Those are just mediums. Do not put too much emphasis on one of them, especially if you are finding it very difficult, and finding forgiveness is sucking the joy out of your life, and you do not really feel it, but you think because the society says so you have to do it. Don't do that. Stay joyful, stay happy, and I hope this helped you.